Next, when a Quebec woman comes face to face with one of the world's deadliest snakes, it's up to her cat to save her. We just saw how two dogs put themselves in harm's way when their owner becomes the victim of a bear attack. Now we look at the story of Sosa, a simple house cat who comes to the rescue when her owner comes face to face with one of the world's most deadly snakes. Kimberly Kotar is a research coordinator at McGill University. She divides her free time between running marathons and volunteering at the local SPCA. Kimberly has 4 cats, but Sosa is special.
One day my mom was house cleaning and this cat walked into my mother's home and just kind of plopped down, and it had this big bump on its belly, so we were concerned about the cat. So we brought it to the veterinarian, and the next morning my mom called to see how the cat was doing, and they said, oh, the cat's doing wonderfully, and she gave birth to 3 kittens last night. And one of those kittens is Sosa. On July 27th, it was kind of a regular summer day in Montreal. Sosa, she'll sit beside me when I'm doing my work, so she takes advantage of moments. I was doing some gardening, just weeding, pulling out plants and taking care of stuff. So I was in and out of the garden basically most of the afternoon from 1 o'clock onwards. I'd come inside to wash my hands, and I was going outside to bring the garbage and stuff to the curb when I heard the hissing sound.
And I thought it was the tire, so I'm looking. I don't see anything wrong with the tire. And then I looked down, about 5 inches from my foot was a snake with its head up, mouth open, getting ready to attack.
So I was afraid to make any kind of move. And then Sosa came out of nowhere and hit it. Heard her scream, and then I ran across the neighbors because I didn't know what else to do.
It's Sosa's hunting instincts that trigger her into action. The snake's rapid movements elicit this response, but it's her bond with Kimberly that initially kept her close by.
The size and exotic coloration of the snake are unlike anything Kimberly has seen before.
I went to the neighbors. I told them that I needed some help. I was afraid to go back over to the house. I didn't know where the snake was. My neighbor got a huge pole out of his garage. I went back to where the incident happened, and then I saw blood, so I knew Sosa got bitten.
We eventually found it here. Like, he had a long stick so we could stand back. It was about 6 feet, and he was just holding it from here on the snake's neck. And the snake kept turning around to try and attack the pole that he had on the snake.
I couldn't find Sosa. Couldn't find her anywhere. I had lost the blood trail in the grass, so it took me a better part of 35 minutes to find her. Finally found her under the deck. Found her crying under the deck, and her paw was hugely swollen. So I managed to get under the deck and drag her out. She didn't even want to come out, and then I rushed her to the 24-hour vet that isn't too far from here, luckily, and went to see the vet, and then we had to wait for the identification for the snake, so her treatment was delayed because we couldn't start anything without knowing what kind of snake.
Eventually, the SPCA is able to identify the snake as an eastern cottonmouth, one of the deadliest snakes in the world and not commonly found in Quebec.
And at that time, the veterinarian told me that her chances were not good because they did not have an anti-venom. He said her chances were slim, asked me what I wanted to do, and I said, I want you to try to do everything you can to save my cat. So they put her on IV, started an IV right away. They put her on a heart monitor because the venom causes seizures and heart attacks in animals and in humans because it prevents the blood from clotting. So basically, when I left there that night, he told me it was hour to hour. Call back in the morning and see what was going on.
Sosa makes it through the night, but shows no signs of improvement.
So the vertebrae run all the way through.
Dave Bethel has worked with reptiles all his life.
So the venom of an eastern cottonmouth certainly has enough venom to kill up to 150, 170 pound animal. when it bites a cat, for it to survive more than 5 or 10 minutes. The likelihood it was that it didn't give a full dose of venom. Quite often when a snake strikes in a defensive mode, it first gives what we call a dry bite. No venom or very little venom injected. A small amount of venom injected into a cat doesn't take the nervous system, it takes the blood system, so it would affect the heart or the liver, the kidney, basically causing necrosis in those organs. Breaks down all the blood vessels, so you get an internal hemorrhaging.
I felt so helpless that I said I have to do something. So I started looking for places where the snake is indigenous. And I figured if I find someone that's teaching in a veterinarian school, chances are they've seen a wound like this.
After 3 tense days, Kimberly finally finds a veterinarian in Virginia who's familiar with these type of snake bites.
And I explained to her the story and that I needed to save my cat. And she said, well, have your vet call me, have them page me out of surgery, and I'll see what I can do for you. So based on the information that she gave them, they started adding some sort of fluid with special proteins in Sosa's IV. And they started that day, and then they were also told to massage the wound, which is what they weren't doing previously.
With a small amount of venom, by massaging it, rubbing it, increasing the circulation and the blood flow, you're going to disperse that through the body, allow the animal to get rid of it.
The next morning, the vet called me and said, we think you could probably bring Sosa home today at 4 o'clock. And I was like, what? And I guess some part of me believed that miracles can happen. And I mean, I brought her home 4 days later. Obviously, miracles can happen.
Cats generally don't have the same social needs as dogs, but that doesn't mean they can't form deep attachments with their owners. With Kimberly and Sosa, that was certainly the case.
So this is Sosa's medal that she received from the Quebec Veterinarian Association. She was admitted into the Hall of Fame. Sosa's the only cat to ever be inducted in the hero category. Every year it's gone to a dog. She's the only cat to ever receive this honor. And this is just a picture of us together on the day that she received her award. Sosa was inducted into the Purina Hall of Fame for Heroes. So that's her medal from Purina. She's a completely different cat since the snake attack. She's purely sweet, and she wasn't really sweet before this happened. She was kind of vinegary, that, if I can say that. I really think she was protecting me. I think she knew I was in danger. I really do. Sosa's a hero. Yeah, she definitely is. She's a hero. She's my hero.